What's up, everyone? Welcome to Top 3 Thursday. I am your host, Chris Starkey. This podcast is dedicated to those event professionals just trying to navigate this extremely stressful job of being an event producer or producing events in general. There are, of course, lots of other stressful jobs like the military or being a policeman, fireman. But let me tell you, being an event producer, producing events is extremely stressful. So it's dedicated to providing you some tips and tricks and help navigate that world. And today, do we ever have an amazing host? I call him the networking master. You've seen him on countless stages around the world. He's worked with Seth Godin, Gary Vaynerchuk, interviewed presidents. In fact, just recently, he is now on USA Today host for a brand new show coming up. The man is making waves, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Ramon Ray. There he is, the one and only Ramon Ray, the man behind the microphone. I encourage everyone who's listening or watching, you have to go on to LinkedIn because Ramon, as I talked about just in this intro right now, in terms of his networking skills, Ramon every now and then will post an interaction that he has in the airport or at a conference or in a hotel with someone that he just met that created an experience for him, right? And it's so important for him, which I think is so valuable, to make sure he talks about it and references it, because you never know in any walks of life where those interactions are going to come from. But when they do, man, they can influence you. And I really feel watching you and trolling you, Ramon, as I have over the past year, that he is a master of networking. His EQ is probably off the charts. And everything that, besides just the networking that he does, what he's accomplished over the years, through the businesses that he's owned, through the books that he's written, specifically Celebrity CEO, that I've read a couple times now. In fact, I've watched some of your workshops as well. And when I'm talking to people, including some of my coaching clients, I absolutely integrate a lot of that methodology that you brought to the table with my own clients because it's extremely valuable on the personal branding side. So, Ramon, thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful that you're part of this. Thank you so much.
I'm glad to be here, Chris, and right back at you. Thank you for the amazing work you do. Thank you for the lives you impact. And thanks for just being a Johnny on the spot, funny, dancing, amazing human that you are, Chris. So thanks for having me here. It's great to be here and share this stage with you. Thank you.
Absolutely. I do want to go back just real quick because I know on part of your bio, you also play the piano. How often do you still play the piano? You still play quite a bit or no?
I play every weekly in my church, give or take, or twice a month in my church. But I don't like playing piano. I only play it because they used to need help, but we have a lot more piano players. So it's interesting. An instrument that I have, a God-given talent, I guess, or something your parents forced you to play when you're small.
Right.
But for some reason, I'm not a musical guy. Don't like playing it. Don't listen to music. Don't even have much songs on any Spotify. 1 or 2, 3 songs that I play that are like gospel Christian music, and that's about it.
Got it. Okay. Very good. Well, I always have massive respect for people that on the piano know how to play the piano because
Sure.
They're hard to find, especially the amount of patience and conviction and consistency that you have to put into it. It's a hard instrument to play for sure. And when you're good at it, man, you are in demand for sure.
Yes.
And in my entertainment world background, we're always looking for amazing piano players. So, but kudos to you on that for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I want to kick it off, first of all, before we get into our question of the week, all of the new happenings that are going on. First of all, I want to talk about Celebrity CEO because it's an influential thing for me as well in terms of the content that's in that book. And it is so relevant now more than ever. And I even hate to use the word post-COVID because we're way past COVID. But it's still so relevant in terms of our approach. I tell my own employees, and honestly, Ramon, based on lots of the things that I read in your book, that it at our level, unless, we have billions of dollars to put into our marketing spend, it really is about, I tell people all the time, it's not about the name of my company. It's about you. It's about Chris Starkey. I want to be the William Morris of the event industry and represent celebrities, right? And your identification with that philosophy, please tell me what was the inspiration behind that?
Yeah, I was asked a lot, Chris, just about the aspect of Ramon. How are you building your personal brand? How are you on TV and newspapers and media, on many podcasts like this and more? And that came to me and people would say in some way, Ramon, you're kind of like a small business celebrity. And that was the beginning of the book. I think it was 20, whenever it came out, is the aspect of celebrity CEO.
Right.
That CEOs should have the opportunity to decide, do I want to be a celebrity? That's not a negative word. That means, do I want to harness my personal brand? Do I want to harness my smile, my handshake, my business cards, my shirt, how I show up, whatever it is about me? Do I want to harness that for the betterment of my company, to build my business? Because I think if you don't, you could be taking something away from your business. So that's what happened for my own journey. And I said, you know what? Every CEO, entrepreneur, business leader, professional working in a company can be the celebrity in their own right in their industry.
I love it. And through your journey, Ramon is seen all over the country, potentially all over the world, in terms of adding that first pop of energy to conferences. And I know you speak about great content as well, but I know you're hired quite a bit to really be
the hype man.
The hype
some
man,
people
sure.
say.
Let's call it the hype man, right? I've been a
I
hype
don't like
man,
it, but that's what my clients say it. So
yeah, I love it.
I own
love it. I love it. And that's how I was first introed to you, because one of my partners, Kamal, showed me a video of you crushing it on stage. And I've done that a lot in my career. And by doing that, I don't know, I'm sure you're aware of this, but if you have the opportunity to be on stage and set the tone for an entire conference with, could be 50 people to 10,000 people, the emotional experience that you create is so far reaching that it changes the entire, it can change the entire tone and success of a conference. Do you have an approach that you take when you jump on stage and do your hyping?
Yeah, I think overall, Chris, I am who I am. We're all different. If I was like my friend Seth Godin, he has that softer NPR voice. He's never going to scream and yell. That's not his thing.
Right.
Me, I can go that way, but I do happen to be over-indexed. That's how God made me. That's how I am, to be a bit high-strung. And it's not a fake thing. Some people are like, I'm high energy. They manufacture it. But I generally, 4:30 a.m., I wake up with a high density. That's just me, and it's not good or bad. You may be quieter, some of our listeners here. So I think that my point being is that I was at Social Media Marketing World a few weeks ago, Chris, in San Diego. And several people came to me and said, Ramon, we loved how you modulated the room. And I think what they mean, Chris, is what you just said. Generally speaking, I introduce speakers at a high decibel, yes. But somebody comes in and says something like, Ramon, I was abused as a child. That's not the time to cheer. That's the time to say, I got you. Thank you. The tone changes. So yes, I'm the hype man. We are the hype men. But I think part of being the good hype man, being a great MC, being a great speaker, as people are looking to hire speakers and use them, you also have to know where to tune that in, because the best hype men also are the best people, have the best empathy, and can read the room.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And I also feel those opportunities, and I'm sure you have a speaker rate or a hype man rate. When I was going out doing my speaking back in 2022, I didn't charge a dime except for my expenses, because I knew I was going to integrate some coaching opportunities based on that. And through that energy, it's just intoxicating, and that's why I love, again, I encourage everyone, and I'm going to post Ramon's LinkedIn action, of course, his URL and everything, but you got to check him out, even on LinkedIn, because I love waking up in the morning and watching Ramon in action, walking through the airport, talking to people. Yes. It sets my day right, gives me that mojo vibe, that fills me up every single day. So I love it to death. So knowing that you have integrated with superstars, and I call Seth Godin a superstar. He's the marketing genius in my eyes. Of course, the Gary V's of the world. You've interviewed presidents. You've been in front of the Shark Tank panel, all those things.
I have.
I'm assuming that, and so much more, by the way, I'd want to negate all the other accomplishments.
No.
But I'm assuming that over the years, you have created a no fear mentality in your approach when you're engaging with anyone. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that is correct. And I think that, go ahead.
No, please expand on, so watch, I'll say one more word. So regarding that mentality, how difficult was it for you to eliminate that? Because I'm sure you didn't walk into with a no fear mentality on the front end.
Well, let me address it two ways, me and then to help others. Yeah. Many people do have some fear or another. I have fears. It just happens to not be staged. So I have fears of, am I too much in the way? Fears of, will somebody not like me? That's something that was unpacked to me just yesterday in a mastermind call I was on. That's my fear. I like to be liked. I like to be the nice guy. However, in fairness, I don't have so much fears of, oh my God, is this the wrong time? Can I barge up on the stage because they gave me 5 seconds? They said the first person on the stage, I'm going to be the first person there. So for me, Chris, yes, I happen to be genetically inclined to not be fearful. I have fears, but not be fearful speaking, not be feared of making a fool of myself. That's probably the best way. I don't have that fear of embarrassment. I don't have that fear of, let me wait. I'm actually the opposite. You know how many mistakes I've made, Chris? Because I didn't wait. I rushed. I was there first. That's how I got to interview Colin Powell, right? Secretary of State some years ago. That's how I got to have a selfie with Ivanka Trump. That's how I got to have interviews with presidents and other things, by taking advantage of opportunities. But for the person who is fearful, for the person who's a bit shy, it's okay to be you. What I would do is, one, get some of Chris's coaching. And
thank you for that,
do
Paul. I
that.
appreciate it.
You're welcome. Just see a bit more. How can you stretch yourself just a little bit every single day? Just a little bit more every single day.
I love that. And that leads us to our question. And before I taught that question, obviously, I'm sure you've heard that old adage in terms of fear as an acronym. You can either, fear everything and run, or you can face everything and rise, right? And it's all about rising to the occasion. But as you know, in our industry and so many sales industries, networking, business development, because I wish I could just hire you as my business development director because you can. You're a monster. You're a monster.
Right now we can do it.
Good. I'm talking about afterwards, brother, for sure. But in terms of that development, there's so many tools around us, specifically now with AI, and people are starting to rely heavily on that. But still, at the end of the day, there's one component that creates a strong business development strategy, and that one component is you, right? It's still those personal relationships that drive that development. And it takes a unique individual. I always tell everyone that the most unique and most difficult position in our company, and potentially valuable, is our business development, team, right? So that being said, so many people can talk about the strategy, can talk about, all the things we can do and incorporate all the tools and the CMRs and everything like that. But what they can't do, have a hard time with, is actually executing and picking up the phone or writing those emails or engaging with someone at conferences. So the question for you is this. So imagine how impossible it would feel to engage with a person that you feel is maybe untouchable. And you know lots of those people, be it a celebrity, a CEO of a Fortune 100 company, a political platform that, just feels untouchable potentially. So we're going to count down from 3, 2, 1, 3 being your first topic. Give me some tips and tricks that you've incorporated in your life, Ramon, that eliminates that fear, that can create an engaging opportunity that will actually grab that person's attention rather than just a nice hello. Will actually grab that person's attention. Starting with 3. Ramon, hit me.
What's the worst that can happen? And you're going to count down, or want me to count down?
No, I'll count down. Number 3. Hit me. So what's the worst thing that can happen? Yep.
What's the worst that can happen? That's number 3.
Yep. Okay. So what's the worst thing that could happen potentially to them is that you lost the opportunity because maybe you're not saying the appropriate thing to grab them. Maybe you feel like you're bothering them. If I said that to you, then what?
And that's okay. Meaning, if that's the worst that can happen, go for it. Tip number 3, think in your mind that my point is, what's the worst that can happen? If I say hello to them and they say, hey, keep walking. If I say hello to them and they're like, sell me something, that's great. So my point is, most situations, we're not in war, right? Literal war. You're going to be okay. So that's the biggest tip. Number 3, reframe your mind. You're thinking of engaging with people. It's going to be okay. There's nothing much that's going to happen. If you don't, of course, you'll lose out, but there's nothing much that's going to happen to you by engaging. So that's my point. Number 3.
Great. I love it. So, but when you do engage in your mind, some people may take a quick shot of Fireball or something like that to eliminate the fear, but in your mind, do you have a strategy that, especially for a person that is someone you always wanted to target, but everyone is bombarding them? Do you have a potential strategy of what you would say or how you would make that approach instead of just giving them, hey, let me tell you all about my company, blah, 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 blah. Hit me.
Well, that was going to be my number 2.
Let's go to number 2.
Let's go to number 2, Ramon. That's what I was saying. Yeah. Number 3 is, what's the worst that can happen? That's the number 3. So number 2 then is, now we get to the engagement.
Okay.
So number 2 now is, one of two things. One way to start is, and I've done this in church settings, religious settings where I'm talking to people on the street. I've done this in airports. Hey, my name is Ramon. I'm flying all the way here from the vacation capital of the world, New Jersey, and I'm going to Denver. Wow, never been to Denver before. Yourself? 99.999% of people, no matter what type of moron they are, they have to respond in some decently positive way.
Right.
You have to. I didn't say, hi, how are you? Fine. I didn't say, where are you going? Nowhere. I said, I'm Ramon. I shave my head every day. It's cold in this plane. Oh my God. Boy, do you feel cold? You got to say something back to that. So that's number two, is that it is how you engage. I guess number two is start with yourself first. Seems weird, not a selfish way, but kind of poke fun at yourself, kind of be deprecating. Or another example, I've talked about, I'll put it this way to protect the innocent, my family. I've said things like, especially when I want to touch people who are hurting, I've said, hey, listen, I felt sometimes my father didn't love me.
Mm-hmm.
I miss him to this day. What about yourself? What have you gone through? Chris, the doors open up. I was vulnerable first. Marcus Lemonis, right, of the prophet on CNBC talks about that. They are going to open up to me second. So that's my tip.
So tip number two, even to break it down even further,
please,
you create that story. Create that story for yourself, right? For me, I have a special needs daughter, and anytime I still talk to people, that's still one of the things that people always come back to me with, right? They said, how's your daughter? I heard she may graduate or go to college next year. And for a special needs kid with cerebral palsy to do that is an amazing opportunity, so it becomes a relatable commonality opportunity. And you just brought that up right now, Ramon, as well.
Right. And story and vulnerability. I think those two things kind of hand in hand, the story, but also opening up a bit, something that may not be, you know what I mean? So we're not used to it. You know what I mean? Like you mentioned, your child with a disability, few people would open with that, but he's a regular guy. He opened up to me. What can I open up to him?
Right. Yeah. No, I love it. And that's part of that celebrity CEO strategy is, sure, we see you in the limelight, but what is the story that makes you unique? Elon Musk, is it the fact that he has autism, or is it that he's so, unique in terms of his approach? And, I'm not saying we all love Elon Musk, but man, he has a brand behind him that means something to
50% of the world does.
Right.
50% don't, 50 do. So, hey, take your pick.
Right. For sure. Okay. I love that. I love the authenticity, the story. Yes. 100%. Yeah. Now, number one, this is the one where we want that impact. We want that vibe of when we do walk away, that potentially someone remembers who you were. How do we do that, Ramon?
Yeah. Number one, this works for me, especially since you put it in the context of working with high value people, as it were. Genuinely people, don't forget this word. Let me get to the second one. Genuinely start with service. This happened to me. I can remember Joe Connolly, WCBS Radio, many, many, many years ago, Priceline.com days, right? Shatner, whatever it was. This is like 100,000 years ago. He had finished an event. And I was like, hey, Joe, I know you're walking out. I know you're busy. He's like, Ramon, I got it. He didn't even know who I was. Catching my cab out. I saw he had his briefcase and some stuff. So I said, hey, listen, can I walk with you out? And hey, why don't I grab that box for you? Total game changer. Or just something simple like, hey, why don't I wait for you? And I'll walk with you to the store. Celebrities may not want to be lonely. Not all. You have to read the room. But that aspect of just, hey, you know what? I got an extra umbrella. Why don't we share it? Or, hey, you're sitting by yourself. You got 20 minutes? I'm happy to join you. Or things like that. And not a overbearing, not, by the way, can I borrow money? Can I get your signature? Can I get your selfie? But just literally, oh, you know what? You're doing a video recording. I didn't know if you're carrying the mic and your book at the same time. I'm happy to be out of the camera light. I did this for Marcus Lemonis. I'll hold the mic for you if you want, so you can have a hand free to talk to people, and I'll be out your way.
I love that. So I love to call it the value up opportunity, not value add, the value up opportunity. You're engaging, but now you're offering your valuable time and energy to whatever that scenario is. I absolutely love that. Okay, perfect. I love that as a number one impactful moment. You hit the nail right on the head. So we only have a couple more minutes left, and I just want to make sure that I really tap into some of the events that you personally are involved with in terms of actually creating. And one of them is coming up soon in April, and it's the let me get this right, Entrepreneurs Conference and Awards happening in April. So tell me the inspiration behind that, because I know you're doing it with Seth Godin and a few other people as well.
Sure. Yeah, two things. One thing I'll slip in and say, if you want a great list of events that are going on, zoneofgenius.com/events. Zoneofgenius.com/events. That's one.
Yep.
In 2005, I had the idea I wanted to bring people together. I wanted to bring people together. I wanted to have a big party. I didn't have any rhyme or reason. It wasn't even to sell tickets, make money. I just like doing cool stuff, being on stage, as I know you do, Chris. And that was the catalyst, the embryo of Ramon doing events. Started in 2005, did my first event in 2006. And from then on, year after year after year, I brought together a few hundred people. This is not 100,000 like the events you do, Chris, and all that. But for me, one guy in a home office bringing together 200, 300,
That's
400
huge.
people, it's a big deal for me. Yeah,
for sure.
So in April will be the Entrepreneurs Conference and Awards with Seth Godin, Mike Michalowicz, author of Profit First, and many others will be there, simply celebrating entrepreneurial success, the best networking that day that I hope it will be, and learning from main stage speakers. So if you're an entrepreneur, check out zoneofgenius.com/awards. Come on by. And you know what? If you put like the discount code Starkey in there, Chris, cool guy, I may just give you like some baller tickets or some cool stuff.
I love that. You are the man for that. All right. I love it. And people have submitted for those awards. Okay, great.
We have a lot of people.
Tell me some of the criteria behind that. Well, what does it take to win an award at this gala?
Sure. What we're looking for, I wish there was a better rhyme or reason, but there's a lot of people that have entered into the awards. We are looking to find people with great stories who are the best representative of entrepreneurship.
Great.
10 people submit. 10 people have gone through hardship. 10 people have an issue, but one said, and maybe this happened to me and I did it this way. All may be deserving. The judges, and there are judges, will pick you and award you for the Entrepreneur Champion of the Year award.
Yeah, and because of the audience there, that's huge. And it's so the event itself, you producing an event like that, from a celebrity CEO standpoint, tell me the impact of doing something like that, the influence that you create.
Yeah. Most of us go to other people's events. Some of you may know Chris's events. He does with some of the best people in the world. You may not even know Chris is part of it. But you take a look at Inbound by HubSpot, Dreamforce, the bigger events, Inc. 500, right? We attend them, buy our ticket. We sit like little gerbils and watch it and do it. And we're going, that's it, But when you do your own event, you can feel me getting excited. When you do your own event, you're the big dog. In dollars, too. It comes out of your pocket. Right. Side note. But you're the big dog. You're on the stage. Your face is there. You bring who you want. So it's not about you, like, you work it well, you serve the people who are coming. But to Chris's point, that's one of the reasons to do it. Yeah, sponsorship money, maybe if you get that. Ticket sales, sure, but as you know, Chris, a few $1,000s in ticket sales doesn't pay for good stage lighting and things. So for many of us, you may even break even or lose a bit. You can sell something there, put your services, but the first time you do it, Chris, you now have a not a template, what do you call the line? The benchmark.
Yeah, the benchmark.
You now have a benchmark for who you are, and you can do it again and again and again, better and better. So I encourage everybody should do an event. And listen, you should go through Chris. 1%, Chris, is 1% okay for me? 2% maybe? What do you think?
I've got more
3%?
than that for you, brother. I got more than
okay, 10%. We'll just
10%. I might pop that 20. Who knows? You never know, right? I love it.
All right. So whoever uses Chris for a $500,000 event, I get 20. I was teasing. But yeah, doing your first event, it's a great way, really, doing an event to build your brand. And I would dare say any entrepreneur that has a sizable, nice sized business doesn't have to be big and has a nice book of clients, you've been doing a business for a while, you may be surprised an event could be for you.
I love it. Okay. And last thing, I know that just recently you have a fantastic opportunity with USA Today. You want to reference that on this podcast?
I do. I would love to. Yeah. Recently, I was doing a show on LinkedIn and other places like we all do. And somebody there said, Ramon, I see you, Ramon. And they said, can you bring what you're doing and how you're doing it to our platform? And lo and behold, I'm now a show host of a Rundown with Ramon on USA Today. And we'll see where else that takes me. Hint, hint.
Yes. You know what? That's a huge, and again, I don't know what the financials behind that, Ramon, but the fact that you have that presence now. I was on a podcast with Brian Neal 2 days ago, who is one of the hosts for Advanced Selling Podcast, which is the longest running sales podcast in the country. He point blank said that if you're a salesperson, a business development person, you don't have a podcast, go out and get a $75 podcast kit, start it today, create that relevance, because you never know who's listening or watching or doing whatever it is.
That's right.
And you are a testament to that. So Ramon, it's such an amazing career you've had. And I can't wait. I have no idea how old you are, but you look young, brother. I can't wait to
51.
55 this year. Once you hit 55, 60 is 5 years away. You're all of a sudden like, holy crap.
right.
Oh no, that's rough. But Ramon,
That's
I
right.
so appreciate and so grateful for this. Continued success. I'm going to post all the Zone of Genius and the gal and everything like
Appreciate
that.
it.
You got to check him out on LinkedIn. Just once, you're going to get hooked the first time you see him. Ramon Ray, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. RamonRay.com. Make sure you check out everything that's going on. Have a fantastic rest of your day. We are Top 3 Thursday. See you next time.